We'd like to allow for a few quick, what we call lightning round questions. Let's again start with Kurt there.
Charlie, tell me the last time you had to let somebody go. What did you tell them?
The last time I let somebody go, I actually replaced my campaign manager in May of this year, and it was brutal. I told him that it was the first time he'd managed a statewide campaign for governor. And I said, look, I'm a first-time candidate. I'm trying to figure this out as I go. You're a first-time campaign manager. You're trying to figure this out as you go. I think you're an unbelievably great person, and I'm so happy to have had the chance to work with you and get to know you. But I don't think two rookies are going to be able to bring this thing home. And I worked very hard to make sure that this decision was not one that negatively affected his ability to find an opportunity to work on another race, and he is now working on another race in another state. But I was awake for a week worrying about this. But at the end, I hate to say it. Again, I'm not allowed to say it at the end of the day anymore. My wife told me that. But I simply felt that I didn't know enough about being a candidate, and he didn't know enough about being a campaign manager, since we were both doing it for the first time, to be able to carry this thing through.
Shirley.
What was your first job, and what did you learn from it?
I was a paper route.
Boston Globe?
I think it was an afternoon paper, so I think it was maybe like the Herald Traveler or one of those. I took the job because my parents said that if I could pay for the plane flight, this is when I was like 10 years old, they said, if you can pay for the plane flight, we'll let you go to a hockey camp. This was before I knew I was going to be 6'6" and a basketball player. So I spent, 8 months saving the money to do this. And the big thing you learn from any job is that, what is it, Woody Allen, 90% of it is just showing up. You show up every day, you get the papers, and you deliver them every day, and that people expect you to perform on that every single day, and that there is a certain dependence associated with that. And if you don't do what you're supposed to do on behalf of your customer, then you let your customer down, you let your boss down, you let everybody down. And the big lesson I learned in it was a job is fundamentally and most of all about living up to or exceeding people's expectations.
George.
Do you know any recent college grads who can't find a job?
Oh, yeah.
What are you telling them?
They can come work on my campaign.
Set up again.
Look, it's only
what
five,
are you telling them?
Find
a job that pays.
Yeah. I say, look, I've tried to help many people that I know access the job market over the course of the past few years. It's really tough out there, and it's not just tough if you're a college grad. It's especially tough if you work with your hands or your back. This is one of the toughest economies I think we've ever had, and I've done everything I can to help people I know by networking and introducing them and getting in front of people and writing letters of reference and making phone calls and just finding the time to make that part of my daily routine, because I really do believe that one of the things somebody absolutely positively needs most of all to get a job is somebody who will go to bat for them if they get in the door and they make it down to the final 3 or 4 or 5 people. And so I've gone to bat for a lot of people over the course of the past couple of years on their behalf. And I'll continue to do that because I think good people deserve that swing at the plate if you can get it for them.
So just when this conversation is getting good, I got to wrap things up so we keep the program moving along, but we want to offer 1 minute for a closing statement from Charlie Baker.
Well, thank you very much for the chance to be here. I really appreciate it, and I especially appreciate the chance to talk about jobs. I'm one of these people who thinks this is, in some respects, the most important thing we should be worrying about and doing something about. And I don't think at this point in time Massachusetts is living up to its full potential in this category at all. We have miles to go to get the people who are out of work back to work. We have 300,000 people who are out of work, an 8.8% unemployment rate, 150,000 fewer people working today than were working in Massachusetts 4 years ago. And I can tell you that this will be my primary objective if I happen to win this election in November, because a job, a lot of jobs for the people of Massachusetts, a working economy, a competitive economy, and one in which you, your kids, and your kids' kids believe they have a future and an opportunity here in Massachusetts is fundamental to everything else. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you. And as we prepare for Dr. Jill Stein to come up, we'd like to introduce for our second testimonial Matthias McGuffie. He is a graduate of the Year Up program, currently... All right, that's good applause that's allowed. And he's currently an employee at State Street Corporation. Matthias.
Good afternoon, everybody. More than 70% of low-income young adults leave high school without a path towards either post-secondary education or a livable wage job. I was part of that 70% until I found Year Up. Year Up is a one-year program that focuses on preparing young people like me for careers in finance and information technology through hands-on training and corporate internships. But more importantly, Year Up is a character transformation program. See, prior to 2009, I was lost and unfocused. I couldn't hold the job for 3 whole months. Work always got in the way of my social life. I also lacked the motivation to go to school. I tricked myself into believing that school wasn't my thing. Now I wake up every morning determined to work hard. Now I wake up with a purpose. Year Up allowed me to dream again. I was surrounded by people who believed I could do anything I set my mind to. I was surrounded by people who wanted me to win, and then I won. I was hired full-time by State Street as a fund accountant. I settle and book trades, receive interest, and reconcile any discrepancies in my fund's balance. State Street has given me, along with hundreds of other young adults, the opportunity to start a career. Year Up has trained me not only for the job that I currently have, but it has gave me the skills and motivation that I will continue to use for the rest of my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthias McGuffie. Very well done. And I'd like to introduce now Dr. Jill Stein. She's the Green Rainbow nominee for governor. Dr. Stein.